Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Hearts of Iron 4 Last Days of Europe with me, Alpha Pi Omega and Greater Germanic Reich. So, in the last episode we have finished the deals with the Americans and today we are going to continue. But with what we are going to continue, that is the question. We have a couple of options here. We could either continue reforming our puppets and making them into a bit more of a coherent state. We could reform the Luftwaffe, we could reform the Wehrmacht, we could continue with the changes in our society, or we could continue or basically start with, and let's not continue, start with the deals with the Japanese. Now, the deals with the Japanese are going to help us a bit with our GDP, even if they increase our inflation a bit, but it is a pretty good thing to maybe go through that. On the other hand, we should maybe reform the Wehrmacht, as I was saying last time, because that is going to force us to downsize the army, and we're gonna save a lot of money on it. Most of the other options are actually going to increase our costs, so I think we're gonna go with Wehrmacht next. I don't want to do that. It seems like something that will really shoot us in the leg down the line, but we have to. We have to save up the money, so yeah, let's reform Wehrmacht. Behold the regions. It was the Heer that carried us to final victory over the Allies and the Bolsheviks. While the Luftwaffe and Kriegsmarine were keeping their hands clean, the Panzer Corps, artillery and the poor bloody infantry fought and died in the tens of thousands. Our victory was won atop a mountain of corpses rising from the sea of blood. Jesus, both our own and our enemies. Worse still, they were used by Hitler and his cronies to commit countless atrocities that will forever stain the honor of our great nation. Small wonder then that they have grown so injured to war's toll. Oh, inured, not injured, so inured to the war's toll, such that they even yearn for it once more under the guidance of bloody Ferdinand and his circle of evil. Valiant as they once might have been, they now exist as little more than puppets of the militarists and the NSDAP. The Heer must be better than this. It must be more than a band of butchers in uniform, with the Führer convinced to take a hands-off approach and the final decision left up to OKV. Greatness for the army is in reach once more. So we get even back to square one, and we will begin downsizing the Wehrmacht. The new division limit will be 100. The General Staff recommended to prepare for the eventual limitations of the Wehrmacht to 50 divisions. So how many do we have at this point? We have just 50 infantry, 68, 78, 81, 91, 93, 105, 109. So we need to shave off at least 10 divisions now. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. If we 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, that would be 9. Or I could go 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's not working either. Okay, so let's disband 2 from each. It's gonna be slightly more than we have. Oh, no. Just 2 of you. Fortunately, it has to be done. It just has to be done. This is the path that we have chosen. This is the path that we, you and me have chosen, and 4 from you. Okay, so that should put us at a nice place. So we have 4 and 46 is 40, 58, 68, 71, 81, 83, 93, 95. Okay, we are under the limit. So let's speed it up. This is further going to help our deficit. And considering the real GDP growth is 11.92 and deficit is 4.92, this should really make a dent into our debt. So let's hope. What about the Navy? Oh, we got some. Oh, we got 2 more white cruisers. So let's send them here to drill. And this fleet is actually almost completely renewed, with the exception of the battleships. But even here we have level 2 battleships, which is 1955? That doesn't sound right. Hold on. No, I need to go to research. To naval, where we are. Battleship. So this is 1950. Really? Tula class. Aren't you guys? Tula class. Okay, so these are newer battleships that were built after the war. Okay, so we can keep those. Once we get the carriers though, we are going to start dismantling the battleships, because the future is cruisers, missile destroyers, submarine hunting frigates, and carriers, and not battleships, as we discussed before. The City of Angels. As the Luftwaffe VIP point began its descent, Schmidt couldn't help experience a mixed range of feelings upon viewing Los Angeles skyline. While it was no doubt impressive, it seemed as if it were a work of progress that had stalled and stunted over a decade ago. The abundance of military installations and vehicles surrounding the city's harbor reminded Schmidt that the Japanese occupation of the U.S. major West Coast ports had likely crippled the region's industry and thus the growth of what was once the most impressive city on the entire Pacific Ocean. Of course, it wasn't like the Reich was in much better shape after its own self-imposed economic downturn and the Bürgerkrieg. More lives being ruined by fascism. What's new? Schmidt thought to himself. But voicing such opinions aloud would be just as damaging to his mission here as it would be to his career, and no doubt his life back home. Much more concerning than the quality of LA skyline was the quality of Schmidt's reception, consisting of some random nameless bureaucrats whose name Schmidt begrudgingly decided he would eventually learn anyway for the sake of making good impressions. After enough obligatory handshakes and small talk to drive even the most shallow of aristocrats to madness, Schmidt was finally able to do some sightseeing. There was the lively Santa Monica Pier, with an ocean view unrivaled anywhere in the continental Reich, the both elegant and exciting Griffith Observatory, from which Schmidt could see the famous Hollywood sign in need of repair, and the excessive Venice canals, and all sorts of other wonderful, if slightly tacky, attractions. The bounty of interesting sights was partially marred by Schmidt's necessary security detail, but what really bothered Schmidt was the lack of opportunity to gain a real and honest understanding of how the American people lived day to day. How else could he truly understand what sort of provisions the Americans would surely want in the re-establishment of relations? And unlike his colleagues, perhaps Schmidt actually gave a damn about the lives of non-Aryan human beings. Oh well. No time to worry about that now. Off we go. Wow, that's a huge difference between United States West Coast and East Coast. He was so excited about New York, and so... Oh, over there's New York. I always look too much to the south. And so distasteful about Los Angeles. Ah, okay. So that's one thing that I missed until now. Japan actually has a small base here at Long Beach. Okay, that's interesting. That is interesting. Do they have something else in here? They do. They also have Port of San Francisco for themselves. Okay. So that's something that I completely missed. I knew that they got Hawaii, but I missed that they had... Port of San Francisco at Los Angeles. Okay, now that makes a bit more sense in the grand scheme of things. So, we can get another decision, doctrine here, or doctrine or decision. Why I'm saying that this is a decision is that reserve fleets actually increase the refitting cost, which is not something that I would be excited about. But the ship repair speed is actually faster, so I think that it means that all ships increase in repair by 15%, and refit should be increased by 5%. But maybe I'm misreading this. Anyway, fleets are ruinous to produce, and to replace one takes longer than most governments are in existence. We must maintain ships in reserve to perform the roles of those lost in combat or being repaired in dry dock. Outlasting our enemy may be the key to starving them out. So let's unlock this. 3 times hurrah. Behold the regions, huh? Oh, nice! Look at that. 82.8. So that's a decrease of 0.6%. Nice, that's what I'm talking about. Deficit dropped by 0.5%. GDP is nearing 12%. Nice. And ZANU-Zimbabwe declared war on the Botswana-Zimbabwe Democratic Front. Cool. So we have ZANU-Zimbabwe here and Botswana Democratic Front. So, who are you guys? So, paternalistic conservatism, ultra-militarism. Ah, Robert Mugabe. Long time no see, bro. Robert Mugabe is one of the worst things that ever happened to Africa, in my opinion, but you be the judges. The situation in Zimbabwe has been a chaos for a long time, so I'm really hoping that these guys will win. Unfortunately, as you can see, nothing we can do. Well, we got 6 infantry divisions. Oh! Okay, both of them got 6 infantry divisions. Cool. Same amount of men, so this is really gonna be a bit about luck and strategy. So hold on, what do we have here? Like a ghost. Kurt has done his research. He knew every way in and out of the hotel. He knew when the staff would walk and where they would go. He was ready. Infiltration was easy. He simply walked in. Blonde men in suits were everywhere in high-class hotels such as this one. He simply took the elevator to the top floor. Like a ghost, Kurt crept into the hotel room. He watched as the American did his same nightly routine. He sent his report, brushed his teeth, got changed, and lay down on his comfortable hotel bed. The instant that the American closed his eyes, Kurt was there, crouched next to him, with his Luger at the spy's forehead. The American's eyes shot open. In crisp English, Kurt began to speak. "Scream and you are dead. Make a move and you are dead. Tell me your name." The American didn't respond at first. He simply took a deep breath. "My name is Siegfried Köhler. Put down the gun." Flawless German. Kurt hadn't been expecting this. He had expected an answer in English, or at least a very choppy German. But this man, he spoke German like a native. Kurt's thoughts receded. Was it raised? Kurt's thoughts raised. Sorry, I don't know why I read that as receded. Kurt's thoughts raised. Was it possible that he was wrong? Could he have the wrong man? No, he told himself. He had seen this man meet with a known dissident. He had seen this man drop up a package that the R&D had tagged as dangerous. He had seen this man plotting, scheming, and lying. No, his resolve hardened. There was no way he was wrong. This was his target. This moment of weakness, of unknown, was all it took Siegfried to act. In one fluid motion, he moved his head to the side while reaching under his pillow with his right hand. Before Kurt could react, he felt the cold steel on his own forehead. "Now it seems like we have a predicament, aren't we? Tell me your name." "Kurt Friedrich." The Grey Rabbit. Both the American and the German made this realization at the exact same moment. Neither the Luger nor the 1911 had suppressors on them. The cold steel barrels that were pressed on both of their foreheads were just that, a barrel. There was nothing to dampen the sound. If either of one takes a shot, the entire hotel will know. Kurt took a deep breath and nodded. Then he began to chuckle. His laugh was infectious, and the American looked like he himself was struggling to contain his own mirth, before he finally gave in. "This is stupid. This is all so stupid." Kurt doubled over in laughter, barely able to get the words out. Not just one of us forgetting to bring a suppressor weapon, but both of us? It's like something out of one of your shitty spy movies. I should have just stabbed you. The American grinned. You should have, but you didn't. Instead, now we're just two dumbasses pointing unsuppressed weapons at each other. Why don't you sit down? Neither of us is going to shoot the other. Why don't we just talk? Like adults? Kurt smiled and nodded, and sat down on the bed next to the American. The American sat up, and for the first time the two men were on the same level, both physically and in terms of threat. And it showed. They were able to talk as equals. Things were tense, of course they were. They were from opposing superpowers, of course. Through the night the tensions began to ebb away. The jokes came easier, the smiles more comfortable. They talked long into the night, until the morning sun's rays began to peek through the hotel windows. Finally, the American outstretched his hand, a silent question being asked. Kurt grabbed it. Cool. So they're pals now. Not sure what I'm supposed to make of that. Okay, and air. Last doctrine, shock and awe. Even the well-prepared enemy can be thrown off their footing by an impressive enough display of firepower and force. By leveraging massed artillery fire, coordinated airstrikes, and overwhelming numbers at the point of contact, any enemy can be crushed. So all infantry and motorized soft and hard attack plus 5%. Artillery and support line. Soft attack and hard attack. Oh wait, this is not air doctrine, this is land doctrine, damn. Okay, on a wonder. So we finished the maneuver warfare doctrine, cool. So now we can spend all of that precious XP on upgrading our units. So Behold Allegiance is gonna be done soon. We have available points in reserve. Things are looking good. I am happy. I would be even happier if the inflation started dropping. Okay, our sphere percent of global GDP has increased to 18.1%. Back to square one. Actually, with this in place, we can do one thing which is important for us, and that is invest into the other puppets. So invest into Poland, Ostland, Caucasian, and Muscovian. We know that we can pay for that now, that we have the deficit in order. It's gonna slightly increase, but it's nothing major. Back to square one. To say that the here is in sorry state would be an understatement, and von Traskow doesn't like to sugarcoat things. The truth is that what was once the pride of the Reich is now little more than a rotting carcass, bloated by the corrupt mismanagement of the previous high command and filled with unfit recruits who were only too grateful to be able to escape economic depression and finally eat a warm meal every day. Hey, I feel personally attacked. I've done so much work with our army. This exponential growth, however, overloaded the supply system until it finally broke, and only served to enrich the weapons industry and in cahoots with the military leadership. With the constant downturn of the German economy, more and more money was diverted towards maintaining this living corpse. The mere thought of cutting military spending was met with subtle threats of civil war, with the result that any kind of research or improvement was halted due to lack of funds. Hey, this is really hitting close to home. Poorly trained soldiers, outdated panzers, malfunctioning aircraft, and odd doctrine. Oh, come on! Were the reasons for the collapse of the German defense during the West Russian War, but not even this was enough to let the corrupt High Command understand the depth of their mistakes, and the Heer continued its decadence. With the Civil War over, the Heer had been left reeling from its losses and from the difficulty of serving once more alongside those who were months before were manning a machine gun aimed at you. This, however, is also the perfect time for reform. Von Traskow has a clear idea of what he wants the German army to become, and he won't stop until it has become a reality. This, however, might be difficult, as several prominent generals and field marshals, chief among them Ferdinand Schörner, will try to stop him at any cost. The battle for Germany is not over yet, so military professionalism will begin to slowly improve, and so to increase monthly military supervision policy effective. So supervision. Encourage brutality. Well, I think we're at a limit. We'll see. I don't know if it can improve to 100%. Division attack is increased, but everything else is fairly bad. Encourage brutality, no restrictions, rules of engagement, watchdog groups, supervision. I kinda hate that once you get to watchdog and total supervision, you get penalties to attack. But I get it, I mean, it is understandable. Okay, so the next one. Reforge the Heer, or Prussian Glory. Okay, well, we continue with the downsizing here. Contrary to what the Minister of Propaganda is obliged to claim, the Heer is not what it used to be. Cronyism and stagnation have worn away its best qualities, while the common soldiery are dangerously out of practice. Even the R&D has fallen behind that of our competitors, as the recent experience in South Africa has shown. It's time to enact a general refurbishment of the Heer's inner workings. While we have no desire to conflict, Germany must be able to defend itself, and a key part of that is keeping up with the advances made by our rivals, or ideally surpassing them. So we get modernizing here, which lowers political power gain, but the research facilities and industrial equipment development will begin to improve. We slightly increase minimal investment in funding of army, and will spend a bit of money. Well, okay then. It's not great. What is the new number? 80. God. Well, if we dismantle some of these, his infantry is really the one that I would go after first. But I don't think we can go further than 4 divisions in an army. So dismantle this. And dismantle this. Now we have what? 24. 24 and 18 is 42, 52, 55, 65, 67. Oh, wait, I see it here. Why am I counting that? That's in bright red letters. Well, unfortunately, there isn't much that we can do. I guess we'll have to dismantle the Hamburg students and 2 more from here. So let's dismantle the 17th and no, 18th and 17th. Those are special forces, I know, but we'll be able to upgrade other units to special forces down the line eventually. And you and the students. Okay. So that means we are now at... I'm such a dumbass, it's written right here, 79 divisions. Okay, so we can take that. That's gonna further lower the deficit, but as we're gonna increase the army expenses, that's gonna hit us. Oh! And we finished the advanced carrier hull. Cool. So the advanced carrier hull gives us the access to the improved nuclear carrier reactor, 271 days. Yeah, let's get that one. I mean, that is going to be important for us. I mean, there's no way... Yeah, we can get it cheaper for the money. Or actually, I could get a frigate or destroyer, couldn't I? No, they're so expensive as well. Let's work on the carrier reactor for now, and we'll see how it's gonna go. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna end the episode here because in the next one we are actually going to design a new carrier, and I want to go through the current ones and see what they are like. Okay, we get another destroyer here. I also have to look at the Navy because I want to cut it down a bit more, have a bit of an idea of what's going on, and I'm also going to write down the numbers for the Sulfur-Ein, because that is going to be important for us. I'd like to see how we developed. I mean, we increased the sphere, but it would be kind of cool to see the advance. I think it has been nearly a year since we last looked at that, so why not? Anyway, thank you very much for joining me. I'll make the next episode slightly longer, because this one is slightly shorter. But, you know, we need to have an idea of what is going on. So anyway, thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next episode.